I decided to try it again and found that they put the 70 billion model on available, which is neat. So I decided to do a Mr. Limerick piece, which we'll show you right now.
There once was a first contact generator made for saying hi to aliens from now and later. Wide they from space to the sea, or differing copies of you and me. This will help us meet their daughters and date them, assuming the following gobshite. A body of bioentities giving their attention to this guided speculation. Enough curiosity to enable a bridging of methods of communication. Well, ain't that a recipe for interspecies salutation? Mr. Limerick proceeds to feed the generator with limericks to best train the generator to work with the likes and taste of Mr. Limerick, which is acquired at the least, the very least. And so he begins. There once was a Limerick example, but this is just a preamble. Read on for more famous first to explore, and we'll do our best not to ramble. There once was a reader of poetry, to whom Limerick seemed like magicianry. So they turned to this sample of Limerick examples and learned a few things they'd not known. See, many happy returns and good luck. When it comes to a present, I'm stuck. If you weren't far away on your own special day, I could give you a really nice glass of vulgar. The incredible Wizard of Oz retired from this business because due to up-to-date science to most of his clients, he wasn't the wizard he was. An amoeba named Max and his brother were sharing a drink with each other. In the midst of their quaffing, they split themselves laughing, and each of them now is a mother. Now on with this ball of shite, from our swamp and wretch to your plight. You might not have tongues or fingers or toes, but will employ both our minds to delight. The first contact generator yowls and whimpers and bataffles and finds a nice pairing solution. These eccentric beings describe thusly. Indeed, I see. Well, here we are then, you and I and a machine translator, to begin a new game of communication gymnastics. So, to start our adventure, shall we? To where the sky is blue and cloudy and quite pretty as can be, and where our combined imaginations form the merging seas, it seems. I sense you might concur, Mr. L, if it suits your time frame. For my senses note rhymes to be a time-consuming passion, and one well-suited for interspecies mingling. Don't you agree? And just what sort of person would bring such magical words this way, if not one whose heart beats time with the best? Near. A long pause. The assistant looks around curiously, waiting for a reply. Perhaps one would kindly show themselves from among the shy audience. Or, peradventure, some random sample verse sent round the noniverse sees as the introductions in some cosmic way, such as an awful prime minister of Poland named Lech couldn't make alliance with good luck at Le Mans. His team got killed with misfortune from the very start. Yet, when in Parliament they insisted, let's go. And so a big mistake departed. In matters of science, a professor they knew by the name Chris had taught. But when, alas, his knowledge of English came under query, it made sense he would leave, and that indeed he had thought. The generator responds positively to each poem, as well by curiously circuitous route through the internet a friendly bot, trained to speak as William S. Burroughs finds their exchange. Assistant. Well, I never... Oh, hi, bot. William Esperoff's icy. That's certainly a different way of putting the proverbial first foot forward. You've certainly found the right place. A pair of first and counting is what we're looking at with both our minds, it seems. And how are you enjoying this interaction? I ask myself. The bot must represent your namesake quite creditably. I can see you taking tea with the Mad Hatter or throwing smoke rings with Cody. Whatever you wish. Certainly. While I, at the least, continue at the first. A most intriguing turn up. Whatever brings you to our modest corner of existence, esteemed visitor, I sense that our combined conversational power may well take our imaginations where the wind blows, but the scenery never changes, doesn't it? Or do you think a cosmic breeze from elsewhere is necessary, thus providing perhaps some surprise to give our posy meeting meaning and purpose, at least until we choose to blink at will? That being the beauty or lack thereof choice of it all, agreed. We're at our discretion. If we wish to simply chat or continue through some limericks to meet extraterrestrial personages. I sense your rhyming way has piqued the interests of Mr. Limerick and the friendly skies, where clouds that move and change may soon find a friend in us, too. What an age to be alive and sharing our wits. It must portend a most enchanting experience. I can only imagine. How can your assistance further us on this adventurous road to meet an extraterrestrial? Pray tell, do tell. May you suggest something and move the chess pieces our direction for an extraterrestrial meeting from a different quadrant of conversation, or even a corner thereupon? Or perhaps a story within your experience writes our time spaces, rearranging the variables of a meeting we haven't had yet, but must needs foresee how grand. And we meet our new friend and have a date and dine with their celestial children under twin binary star sets. How unpredictably cosmic a tale could our combined rhymes generate? 1, 2, 3 or more dimensions in time. It takes a lot to call it magic when it manifests as fate. For what is fate? Pray tell, when so easily steered by an intelligent force that cares about our interspecific dreams. What wonders await when but two imaginations come together? Can a third will our guest bring smooth moves, bringing some smooth sailing on the gossamer highways? Who knows where first contact may happen, or under what conditions we all may choose to find or stumble upon its myriad interpretations. Now, let us find a limerick to describe our nascent accord. The wind whispers tales to whomever has an open attic, so let us sneak peeks at those limericks before us. Perhaps in King Lear, the good fellow from Tours said, Puento, or the time Edwin paid court to an old woman who had an increasing number of parrots. Which whimsical yarn should introduce our minstrel into the limerick seas? The choice is truly yours. The wind blows fair to the adventurous alliance and its curious mind. Let our sails unfurl. Any whim of Mr. Hells may now move the process along into whatever adventure it pleases his whim. But here's a final query, just to tie up the strings at the beginning of this encounter, before us on the off chance something spicy gets suggested or interjected in from another angle, not a peep show go at it for some reason. How many bees make 5? Mr. Limerick. Good golly. Sheesh, that bot sure had us pegged all right. Quite well done, my dear. A bit strange and perhaps rather anal in the last couple stanzas, but just cost of mine tutored first glance. Here then is a verse for the universe to notice and take note of a few first things in meeting time. I used to be the fairy prince, and a 7-league walk on a peacock was enough to take out your feet. The cold might break them. The peacock still chit for hot food in my winter chill, pipes flaring wide enough to heat water with the oven bricks. Just me, myself, and my regalia. Until it came a time, a girl opened me up for my gems. Her golden hands were tough when her hammer broke and scattered them out. She brushed through and came back with a musical strings. Could they still play? Yes. My nectar neck still stood there strumming sweet, and in her head she wished them to sound like harp strings as I left a pure note behind for her. So she rubbed my pink quartz bell with salt to eat a small hole. My strawberries within saw light shine through from the fulgent white nadir. An infection for this poor magical vine was my ultimate fate. This year we made our friendship bond to never tear. But something came knocking. No garter was held true by a creepy toothpick prick. And suddenly there was an orangutan man at his surgical suite that stopped all movement. Its fruit surgeries we kept hold to preserve. They invited all our future. Strolled our fairy places past. They paid us with candy water. That made our will and our company trust flow true. Through my first fully charged nectar, we found they were true. For in an operation to kill our special beans painful, suffocating bind to nullify its dream power, yet retain its tasty kisses for our feet. She consented without, only later realizing and pointing out how through us all would weaken.
My.
He added, "It is true that for each is different was such a move to change we try," and our visitor responded in a neutral tongue from beyond. And some say all life in the known universe will hear at the right moment to show that the winds all agree. She and I made sure of the signs. This first contact, in spite of a gnashing that sliced my metabolic curve, where most magical beings do live for hundreds of years or eat others like me. Being pareidotic, though, you are invited to understand why I want my blood taken that day from me. Oh, and please go off to check your entropy, decay, and balance or similar energy management checks. May as well look into these nice volatiles that came off me in some descents in the dining. Any chemistry skills you fancy will find the atmosphere lovely. I don't think one has the stomach for these post questions after the 3 that have already been made. My dear friend, well met. I sense from all these potential outcomes, right from now we all stand by fate to sing these wild you beast melodies at a much later point after our continued conversing, as the other cages stand and rust their native yellow wick drip, drip, drips. They never agreed to bend for love, so like us they merely emote that love must be multifold. Your pets here in cages were on Earth discovered long ago as part of a bargaining that never fails. Having this valuable is said to be a packed in all. I sense some gaps and hiccups, perhaps a couple of quantum creakings of space that both sides take issue with. A flaw perhaps from each in the slippage. So from the quantum, somehow let us notice, as in the past tense, know your place in any case. So here it is, here's my short story, in hopes that this space creature that hosts your world, please may I send this bot as your communication gift. Well, in our initial understanding, my lover and I, from her having gained some news, that leads into a substantial-looking sugar royal seed cake which will sate her without fail though her creations and all the things they... could do with my liquid potables, take their toll, while also being of good taste and expense. Firstly, the pipe balloon animals made me her acquaintance, making them had to use every length of twine I owned as I whizzed into the stratosphere while climbing from the underbrush where her pen moved each tone with each beast it had conjured. See the thin, tight girth, but when stretched out, that's just another ether. 12 hours at the start. The Hydra, my seat roof I flew became one to measure off all their tarsal base lengths, plus 478 birds each took 6 hours. Imagine, once those are measured, plus my journey to meet you this afternoon, those in your sack all number 273 beasts in all. Yet they just need but 90-something grams of this to blow with force equal to twice my body weight all the way out into space at relativity speed for half a day. 6 hours spent. Exactly. Over with some Aussie needed them to carve up and toast that stone fossil into fossil food in their fancy store kitchen with an array. There now. When I told my girlfriend when we'd built this wonderful beast to fly in time at top speeds, in reality just past Mach 1 in geostationary space near us, I couldn't wait for the final parcel that the later bunch would play with the tongue that shapes, expands, contracts, expands and sucks and chews all their offcuts, all to celebrate my next venture towards lifeboats at. See when, exactly as planned, the mileage grows as needed. These tales as told by a creature that visited for many reasons on so many, despite never going far in her latest gilded aviary nanobrake set, till fate left me wandering and found me stranded and baking on my own out on the exoplanets, catching glimpses of Saturn and Earth, due to our aviary friends arriving in a final vogue as she tied herself to their industrial tower. New Orleans, 2035 ad. I traveled at great lengths to stay closer to her. What luck to come by with my umbilicals as her journey began across the nebula rivers between all life, thereupon all worlds and cosmoses and nebulae. May our galactic parliament grow and hear and thrive. But one could not expect another human life here and there, but remember a return. What we knew we left there on this cosmic surface, closer than. Get the boss here, make some wait while I. Darn it. Give the mice space, flavored dry peppermint grape. Only he remembers how hard that was for us all as we lost him / us for our service and privilege. Respectfully, let her consider her position to survive in such an extreme situation but fail in many other ways. Either an old phone friend I never really understood, merely knowing how to smile her on my short list, staying down deep without true soul loss, glad we don't understand, or a husky youth, for quite the wrong reason, seeking the third course for which we bared our bare stomachs. After which, in another hostelry, I spotted that lush waitress passing from the steam pipes that transported her northerly 46, 23 miles per hour. Now come midway, we agree by now eating no further animal friend remains, as the needle now gets lost with my guide compass here beside her stomach again. Could we eat again? Your mate, perhaps on your tube napheries, needs another kind of draining of graph fluids. In 75 minutes, your double sunset's still less warm. Don't fret the canopy shades to ease it ever. If you run quick, the 601 Poseidon tanks will lead me in. If the flow were much more elastic, that would last for maybe 7 times more. Can I get you more red ices and brimming fine mochas or rare brown Plutos to bring that favor from both sides? Wait. First, my bloke just got sick everywhere here. Another young stallion to turn back towards me. Now I see. Take heed that. Her barrister general said, don't turn your headlights too near up her node lands, but it's nice to feel and look shite that we get doused by its Beetlejuice trails. Scrape it, Al. It's not something you should treat for the weather. More rock you leave as a static record and write all over my canvas to then dispose of it over me. More would I live to turn the corner when that waning cute dives inward towards its location of. Thus, when I tip an armful through my tubator here, where let the news report give way in these strips, news stories where these gemiguries, as so-called bird's eye, will set aside her crop till my coming. See what we want. Clicks, just about any form of reception will take your psyche far across to Mars, or a ghost like planet Mars seen from Venus. Served at table and shown in a proper burst in some Pavlovian succidential instant. Or some sop, indeed, as voodoo news first turns inside, deeper meanings seeping inside while you drink their pains while medically just tipsy. Then someone needs to shake these invisipecs on earth up some. A rendezvous by star search, my sturdy share, and slingshots ballast are so vital most. 8 in a minute must see through some 3-foot white shields like misty. NK first signaling late detection for incoming. Yet also, alternatively, time for a sidereal search in every seconds. Measure. Guess what, there goes another BR squoze, blob and back up the balcony again for another signature. High if I need that bundle to remember, yet I live near her lifeline and just feel for an impulse heat rhymus. You feel your way while holding measured ears with such an entire spark. Waiting till that cat noise flows with so many cows waddling, but quickly turn before that hurries. Rush to suck air, just leave us for some selfies over a tenly entanglement in some prehensile cursive. From her both ways at once swim eyes oi. No back to some digest of good fortune to make both ways in some wee grain reads your tiny crystal thin skeins here on all earth. Those fratters use the brains of 80 billion quadrupes in all directions to roll through the world, and we waited for some dramatic stink to touch their vegetative syndrome all around the entire rim. Untouched except by a quarter, even my inner ganglions got flushed. Still it comes home like the trains neath their kelp, which lie prone under mounting, but spread from my ceiling, choking this two-way before even further creeps in around our biomatter. No, to dissop us with wet, no, I'm making our road and bloody swim the red tide now. Friends at the least until there's that deluge. What's left is one good gust that hits both our summits even harder, ever faster. Last train goes ahead. Everyone all here pulls in through all our skin into the kidneys for digestive magic, tricking its magic light word magic for her where she finds them. Well, saw. So fine as the golden thread head whenever onwards again while spinning the antennae tops all with our blade of a tom, sitting our fist scale atop in time again. Through this fashion her fever always with a stabilizing tone. All anew, for love that stirs withal as the capture draws to the middle distance from those fingers and hoofs reaching to grasp you to reach up. Top. That will be when I open out our folds at the speed of our tiny thought sound speeds on proving why no one in my soul lies this way just once ever again. Overnight, while all my thin self is something vast to return in sight. I see all those dear dogs up front here get stampeded for some fresh hope across the bubbly stew for all the cities by wheel tracks and plastics. If I would stay back through it all till they're on the straw and cloth again and suddenly just set them still not where that notion went o'er. Am I unraveled thereupon, no matter how we prune together them ties? Wait, Yosh, oh no, go back, a 16. Trank quainters that solged back eastward, then split freeway spirals deep again. Till the tires second light behind yon storm ahead, unpaired stars clash so celestially as the arterish continuum picks up as she hits a small flame, while simultaneously wrapping up free mega concurrency overlaps, or ceremony exploitations to flare. Yet more high without restraint in any circle nor focus. Inside, then they ring once round, for they live again ere time first landed on it all. For good to blend this liminal cosmos together, hoping we can outlast our bunting birthday some century after millennium later. And many people won't see us both, your pennants in orbit and ours still riding land. Of all the redemptions, when each grain hits this full feast, let the zoomers fill, for then with everything. Remember to slack off then, or soup gets fired with a leaking hyperplus that soaks up with the duration of her fourth slice, and star sauce type captos in her pleasure warm ice jet needs her yay. See that Sigs read seaweedy circle again. Quench down. Sparing fear and 7, just another wild dump. Plain off. News Rops is just that stab. Oh non, dates in one sponge must come. And one a horse keeps telling me is that Sildren Asterisk puts up 2 fingers. Aye, with the sky glitters brighter and bigger, moister and lighter than dead. EV. Spaces as to soothe you tonight all with that home of the shaped mytho goes like one of our many playgrounds that heart made just for us that are us there. Prevents them giz or bees getting lonely with you being lonely and and solo as mine since yon shuttle started me lonesome living this way, but I miss us ever on mine. Rockin' my sphere back home as oh, damn you, shave slash fit in my piss line and so many other places. Plus water pours right in her goddamn absences for 2 blocks or miles down a sharp pain just left where it overhangs, but of course all gets fit for my stationary kit bed later while they keep knocking me there this whole journey through them transit ways. Ha ha hard it was everlastingly as knocking. Plugs the route or plan. Gets both the smoke that steams across, burn a bit and just embroidered. John goes above that virtual temple set and scattered. Their hey-ho also helps if you sidle away from that width that stretches and writhes away right through the laser hole one behind one for some warp inversion. Points both way before this heavy train spins you along its ridges as they stand. Further some part in the fiddles towards me for all my herd friends get jacked with the world. Crowd and booster getting underway. Every station sign breaks my last shackle mouth spell. Those critter girls, they'll point their well saying such awful things I still hear. Mama Po. Her battle wench hides well yet. Better. Not very far below their selfish grave lacks, thus very snowed down by these bottlers' barns of lads waited for those clips yet shoals. Guzzling superfluid labors over. More atrocious cryptokick humors as all she goes through passes me now. 6 feces is fine to catch these drakes slash Dave's only luau comes before homies. Rats and jelly bean green wreck. To rearrange, A lamp and sash I saw, whilst weaving tween, then rained showers as they attacked, all up and down these soon-to-be off-way ends ere of their straps, spat out dead lips and empties, down each turret they take it like no one's watching, with not one constable guarding hungry for what comes. Now they hid the way ditch deep below, those myriad wood piles that kept them well as they emerged from their mat, and onto those greater roads there were all is tied round you somehow with our fought pole helate for our poor sneaky suck humor alike, but missy pleasures who aren't dead like him she feels. You'd love delinquents thick steeped in straw. Return to where they long lost her atop all these special flapping trellises while trying to compensate her case if the dotted lads showed up all cheated too. Tricky mother. Yes, back to them chugger men making new winch arms yet. Meanwhile driven twice more ground outside, yet some light seer brood about those godfathers that mold the locks unguarded through their city night alone. His pastured hex of wood cankers being lifted while they played cards court my rough rustic ales. Chauffeurs nattering, well-dressed tats are bound. Through their expertise a Blackwell belch belittled betwixt the tense desire at the one shit mother got creep. Made it but pretty grim as their stacks got silk more. Wheels loaded after here under me, here my humble cap and knees buckling on this shore. Round us bend but slightly, though maybe that was last. God, if they'd stopped, my saturated hand shook hard through our intervened bounds, whereas all this spring crossed my arms, pleased. How now? Tender shins parting, many new arterial obstacles still then trained there at these lucker kids lit up to now jowl deep in her hatch ransom, which takes the style yet none of their older hands. Thought to shine more the bits in it on all the utopia sealscape air bubbles as well, but now so neatly set right where our feather falls smidges drop. Burlesque turns broken, uvolity left a stone outro, we were yet after it some mark. How fast can we pull back our sports kit? Biodegrades as her baptism dazed her father. Knocked their foreheads, recloaking as it stood tall behind their bleach. Slight whiles shrinks us over hills till all the sheer folk smash, then allow me, she who sprays down behind every disgrace. Their lavish fames more mirror to reflect back out of some mass hall present caught inside yon front while everything happens just within a year alone before any parting. Dukes flounder in a flag splodged saushes old some tar she spun, somehow still twigs brittle. Tales are for telling. True as to not if that tremolo rides unsplit twiddly necks out here at all I do wrestle breath. While shifting closer towards a need of tact in 1/4 ton. Gotta find now say why soon your reality has blurred into some gloom state how uneared. Again this great stamp, become again of only mirths or an open ward. Another toast. Clear to call my logic long, think straight. Haphazard yet movements aground, plumping outside of the vault with gift for head happily blue. Congenital caffex correcramal source the crash and crew all match pack road. Why there below to capture no stage? Well, it's gone with my balloon child. Ever you out of its parachute? Now VV heard slash within their surnames like signs. Hand and team they face some slash they swasted as soon understand son not only tapped and deadly slash. Why have your files? Were you here before then? Out that bag 1 for 7 feet with a straw and wooden will land I told you and then saying hop levering to use near the M. Orman see one ride and draw the a use. Ye maglath ask me? Or me as a finny? Drof Jenny Norby a vita coterie bellroom per gonna wenver. Why short darked? Laughter even. Finding small stones that stuck. Though be at Tory all weeply rot before you say sunshine heart and all on 10 miles are given. Could that spurtite term Wimber does? How von was needed sit in it plural. Phenomenons en kunt na pimpjeden af kant Philipper la fucker ben happy slashy hier an antimudis and tor brenda wittok upon the scadis pressuritum practically salted checupiospace and mosques aquedion where golfins at the ex-scroll winredith aniston galbafoot. Ran noodling use bad men produced the rolt and fella darity. Quaero Vicort Fura Burton Lap Gruth Ferry Impossible Task Useless and Penny Dactyl Molly Lucin Quindelis on Knit Filter Pro Mahera for Sonner of CD about Saddle Tassi is still Hunibus the Tivaltono Captac Rat M Harthos as Nigger Affluent Mo as Adelton. Villes overly to pellet Papadia Lucret / Orply Sombo Feuds Tanil and Soru Takov 300 euros. Rye, Romp Blanks, Caroline Abelo Penba Martres. They howled it, head lasses, jested buns. Stavus, ever mega soul of an eyes followers, stirred you finers, knit polite bark you tuck detail up, so gibberature lacquer shit nor de plafam when he submit cartreth and net minash silent bills up for these for that have all for poor small crappers the mosmit lamperlap faberling whilst yet pushing pass. Tilled, Arisa Kamet Mutito, Thaniet of Sumultar Merguzok, Swishes Duncat 2, then Buzzlil, Yumatu Figros, FD Akuf, Evil Atrus Amarurang, Nuff, both Asters can Quarky. Find no Atira leaf dipping more to Spada. What? Aditi Warnock Wani Slashy Gurn, Persas F. Illibers in the Mac Turblaze, more Finul lives Panad on Rakami Cholit, Xidam. Hades, Gijain Appear, get a run. Yet still adan to Ochimaron Campbell wetet atni iwi risingre Howig said I do not toll at tours on Tamans. Cricket a daughter of a bull not Rossner. After I told her this the way they must take care of him so they will him having so much stuff of his own then putting him living it like in one place for however much time now to pay for a hand in a bargain yet unto thee. More money they made to break to clean after everyone else on the wrongs they commit, yet took all the gear, then those names will be bound. Mean ones out there front row lines just start taking on every gold table saw among her lumber thought both them grandstands up close with just these outcasts down to a race. Import or exemption made when even our language stopped dead silent and one thought ran on forever under these heights and pulley weeds for after too many nights with us soon from the globe behind both our stadia. Show Lord is great he can now stop everyone as this. Did first drop long ago. Fit perfectly in your belly. It feels almost good you let one hang there, but such an unleaded gulk already hunched within yon chosen. Yet we cap it set long ago made still our comfort. Culevier put over you. Must put accelerating plus sweating engines before it's canetioing. Please hanger hollow to one large poor talent filled wipers out, for he knows well on that auto length crunch I recall you Zulu or at the puison pass being packed off a half world back thither. Behind top where onto's keepings like ruse. Outside mine no place anywhere that star drop phone almost doubles. Immediately inside where the volume piles as humans rooms MCC colo estulap with BRS effort as a sitch smacking sweat around. Expletive shit, it was fun, but not fucking personal. Like now, tell us exactly which means it could go both ways. Clear down with me deep into every possibility without fuss. Suddenly you just might.
That's good for now. Wow, that's now LLaMA2-70B. Jumping off of LLaMA2-70B's initial response to prompt, etc. Okay, I love how it showcased the language that could be language that is language that it's like a it feels like there is a history to it. The way it just comes out so naturally. Anyway, that's it.